Yeah, okay. Sorry for letting you wait this much time. So we can start now. The recording is started. So today's agenda will be to show you how to create a registration page, how we do the login, then the initialization of Flask application. Then I will show how to create the tables, how we design the tables in the database. And next thing, fourth thing will be how we initialize the database in the application, how Flask and database is connected, means backend and database, how it is connected. So these four things I will be teaching you today, and based on that I will be giving you the task. Okay. So before starting, or I will ask at the last after the recording is stopped, because I will be asking whether you guys have completed the task which I have given you yesterday or not. I can see only 8 people has told me done, but yesterday 14 people joined the session. So okay, fine, no problem. Let me first share the screen. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Yes. One second. This is my GitHub. Okay. And this was the GitHub which I have connected with my editor. So here I have written the points which you have to do from today onwards. This will work as a tracker for your hospital management system. Okay, so I will share the link of my GitHub repository so that you can go here and check the points as well. And whatever I will demonstrate today, I will push in front of you only. So you can visit to the codes of that particular pages as well. Okay. So I have already created a template folder yesterday, right? And three HTML pages I have created as well. That was home.html, then register.html, and login HTML. These three pages I have created. So let me show some coding so that you can see how registration and login is being performed. Okay. Keep one thing in the mind that the terms which we refer for any functionality is only being changed. For example, right now you are creating new users, so it is called as registration. Next, if you are creating new appointment, it will be known as appointment creation. Similarly, there are many terms, but all functionalities are similar. What is happening everywhere? Everywhere creation is happening. That means the column name or the field name or the features of that particular thing will be changed, but it will be done in a same manner. Okay. For example, I will tell you that while we do the registration, we create users, right? So here at the time of registration, we take the data of name, user's name, user email ID, phone number, address, etc. But instead of registration, if you are creating some appointment of a doctor, then what are the details you are going to take? Same here, we are creating a new appointment, but the details, the field name will be changed. It will be known as appointment ID. Then, what is the doctor's name who has got that appointment? Specialization of that doctor, from which department that doctor belongs to. Okay, so now you can correlate that these two things are done in a same manner, because in both the things creation is happening, but the term is changed. At one place we were doing user registration, and the next thing we were doing appointment creation. So the fields only just get changed. So yesterday I already created home.html, right? Just give me some minutes so I can quickly create a proper home page. You all can watch whatever I am doing right now. So I have given the title, and no need to show this, a header. Yes. Right now this is my basic home page. Let us go to register page. Let me create registration page. It is registration will be only done for patient. So I have kept the heading as patient registered page. Now, yes, the heading will be also patient registered. This part I will explain you later. Yes. So you can see I have created a registration page using HTML, and I have used form tag. What is the use of this form tag? So form tag is used in HTML so that we can type and give the data. Okay. So if you read about form tag in HTML, the property of form tag is for taking the data. We will type something, that data will be fetched from front end to back end. So these are some fields which I want to give at the time of registration. What are those fields? Username, then email and password. And at last, I have given a submit button. So that is the input. I will just click on that button. Okay. So when the first question should come in your mind after doing the coding of HTML page, that how you are going to see that this page has been created. So I have saved this folder in my desktop, as you remember. So in the desktop, go to the templates, and now you can see, just click on the HTML page. You can see how your HTML page has been designed. Similarly, for register as well, you can see this is how your register page has been designed. Okay. Till this point, anyone is having any doubt? If someone is having doubt while I am explaining any property or functionality, you can raise your hand at that time only. Okay. So now you saw that I have created a registration page. Next question should come in your mind. What is the use of label and what is the use of input tag inside form tag? So input means a box will be created inside which you can type something. You can see here three boxes has been created. Here we can type something. Okay. But every box has some label. First box has the label as username. Second box has the label as email. Third box has the label as password. So this is the difference. What is the property or what is the use of label tag and what is the use of input tag? Now you are seeing some properties inside these tags. These are called as properties: for, type, ID, name. These are the properties of that particular tag. So we are using it to show for what purpose it is going to happen. So For every property, there is some value which we have given. So username is taken for ID and name property, and type means what type you are going to type inside the input box. For example, I will show you username. You can type that can be shown to anyone, right? Like I type Aditi 123 is my username. So that is coming in a text format. Similarly, email has some other type. It is written in the form of at the rate something.com or some username type of format is for email. Okay. So here the type is not text, it is email. Okay. And password is not shown to anyone. Only the user who is typing should know. So I have given password 1234, but it is not visible to anyone. So the type is known as password. So I have given the types for each kind of labels which I am doing. Okay, if I get one more label as address, I will be giving the input inside input tag. I will be giving the type as text because address is written in a text format. It doesn't have some special format similar to email or password. Okay. So registration page creation is understandable by everyone, right? Just react with thumbs. And if anyone has any doubt, you can ask me. Yes, Divyani, please tell.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Okay, okay. Fine. Now comes the login page. So login page, same thing as register page. We will be creating a form, and here also in the login page we will be typing the details. What is our password and username? So it is your choice that you decide what is the first thing you want to take, and password is generally taken by everyone at the time of login. So you can choose either I will be taking username and password combination or email and password combination for doing the login. So I will just copy this, pasting this. This is a common login page, right? Because admin, doctor and patient, everyone will be logging in. Yes, so I created this login page. I'm taking two inputs only, username and password. And similarly, I can see that how my login page looks like. So this is my login page. Now you have created the HTML pages and you saw it directly by clicking the files. That is known as seeing the HTML pages on live server. But what if you want to see in the form of backend? Means it should be getting connected with backend, and whatever you type in the register page should be getting saved inside your database. That is not happening right now. So the next step is creating app.py file. So it is not created inside templates, it is created outside that. Before doing that, let us first add, commit, and push the changes so that you guys can also understand how this practice will help you. So you can see I am inside my project folder, dummy HMS. First of all, every time look this. Then I will type git init to check whether initialization is done or not. So it is already initialized, I re-initialized it. Now I am writing git add space dot, then the commit message, commit -m updated home.html login dot html and register dot html. Hit enter. Yes, Shivam, please ask.
मैम इसमें ऐड डॉट से तो सारा ना फाइल वो एक बार में हो जाएगा। अगर हम एक ही फाइल को कमिट करना चाहेंगे टेम्पलेट फोल्डर से तो वो कैसे कर सकते हैं? एक पर्टिकुलर फाइल को जैसे रजिस्टर डॉट एच टी एम एल को ही हमको कमिट करना है, उसको किस तरह से कर सकते हैं डायरेक्टली?
एक्चुअली उसके लिए अलग तरीका है, लेकिन दैट विल बी वेरी मच न्यू फॉर दैट, फॉर यू, फॉर एवरीवन। सो जो सबसे इजी तरीका है वो मैं आपको भी बता रही हूँ। गिट ऐड फाइल नेम। यस।
बट टेम्पलेट फोल्डर के अंदर वो रहता है तो वो उसमें एरर दिखा रहा था। मैं वो ट्राई किया था गिट एड फोल्डर में।
सी द मेन थिंग इज दैट कि there is this type of thing, source control. Okay, so what will happen when you see the source control? You can right now see, wait, right now I have already committed my changes, right? So it is not showing any changes, but later on if I do any change in my file or folder, in this source control it will be showing how many files or how many changes has been done. Then you can do that commit one by one for each file. Okay, so that I will show you, but that is complicated one. Always start with the easy and basic one. Okay, then only you can go to advanced one, right? You guys have not been told to first make mad 2 project and then make mad 1 project. There is some steps which we have to follow while learning or understanding the things. Okay, so similarly application development is new for you, GitHub is also new for you. So first try to understand how this thing is being done, that I will also show you. Okay, Shivam, is it okay, Shivam?
यस मैम।
Hmm. Okay. Now I will push that. So it has been pushed now. Wait. Actually, I have changed my README. Okay. So I have changed my README in the GitHub account only. So that is the error it showed. Just give me 1 minute. Yes, this is the tracker which I changed. 1 minute. this part I will do it later because it is taking time. So, what is the error? What is the mistake? Is done by me only. That when I was doing all the commits from my VS Code, what actually I did right now before starting the session, I just edited my README file from here. Okay, I just wrote everything here and then I have committed the changes from here. So what it has done, it has got some fork issue, branching issue. Okay, because it is telling that something has been done there, something is being done in the VS Code, so there is some clash. So first I have to pull all the changes from the GitHub and then I have to push the changes from VS Code. So that is the error coming, which I will figure out after the session ends. But you guys don't do that. Don't do any changes from the GitHub repository. Always do the changes from VS Code only. Remember this. Okay. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to solve that error. Okay. Fine. So let's stop here, and I will not push right now. It is already committed, and since it is committed, so it is showing like this. I have given this commit message, but there is some clash that already something has been done, but it is not shown here. So why it is not? So this is the problem that I will figure it out later. Okay. So we have completed first, second, third, and fourth points, that how these pages are going to be created. Till this point, everything is clear to everyone, right? I just want a thumbs from everyone. Yes, Bala Chandran, you want to tell something?
Nothing, ma'am, by mistake.
Okay, okay, perfect. So now the next thing is that how Flask app initialization is done, and that will be done inside app.py file. So let us create app.py file, which will be created outside every folder. It is inside our project folder, but not inside templates. Many students create inside templates, so I am highlighting that. So first of all, we have to import the libraries which we are going to use. So we are using the language Python, and inside Python we are using framework Flask. So from Flask, sorry, we are going to import Flask and one more function, that is render underscore template. I will tell you what is the use of this render underscore template. Okay. Now the next thing comes, the configurations of application. So before setting the configuration, we have to initialize Flask so that we can use that initialization for creating the routes, setting the configuration, connecting it with the database. Okay, three things. Why we have to initialize the Flask? For setting the configuration of the application, for creating the routes. What is the purpose of creating routes? I will tell you later. And third, for creating the application with for connecting the application with the database. These three are the major things which will help us, which will be done after we do the initialization. So this is the way we do initialization. Please ignore this. Yes. So what is here? This is the command used for initializing Flask application. And what I have done, I have initialized that and stored inside the variable app. Okay. Now I don't have to do this initialization every time for creating the routes or for setting the configuration or for connecting it with the database. Never. I will be not doing this again and again. So I have stored that value inside one variable known as app. You can keep the name of the variable anything of your wish, but app is the most standard way of keeping the name of the variable in which Flask is initialized. Now, the first thing which will be used is setting the configuration. So, there are two important configuration of the application which we have to set, that is the secret key and the SQL SQLite database name. Okay, now how I can tell you, like you create one notepad, okay, and you have created one file. So you are going to save that file with some name. For example, my first project.txt. This is your file name. Similarly, here also, when the database will be created, the database should have some name like project.db, something like that. So, for setting that name, we have to give that name here, and that is one of the application configuration. So, SQL Alchemy track modifications, sorry, SQL Alchemy database URI will do that. So these are two major configuration of the application. Let me write that. Now you can see I have written your secret key. First of all, let me explain what is the use of secret key. Secret key is for making your whole application secure. Okay. For example, you set a password for your Instagram or Facebook account. What is the purpose of saving that password, creating that password? To make your account secure so that nobody except you can use that account. Similarly, we give a pin or we lock our house. Okay. So what is the purpose of that? So that whole house is protected by the third party people, either the thieves or gangster, anything. Similarly, for application, what is the use of secret key? To make your whole Flask application secure. So this part is the password. This will be decided by you. For example, I have given a secret key as something like that. Okay. So this is my secret key now, which you have to actually set it, because if you don't do that, it will be throwing error. The next important configuration of the application was SQL Alchemy database URI. Yes. So we are using SQLite for creating our database, SQLite 3. That is the application used for creating our database. And what is the name of the file? It will be decided by you. For example, I have given the database name as Aditi, and .db is the extension of SQLite database. Okay, so these two configuration I have set. Now comes the first route. The basic Flask application starts with this route, /route. If you skip this part, it will be throwing error. You cannot start with login route like /login. You cannot start like this. You have to start with /. This is the first route which we have to write, and after that we have to create our own routes. Okay, so this is the important thing which you have to keep in your mind. So you can see here that I have created the route, and again here the app variable is getting used. So now you can see for the second thing, route creation, Flask initialization is important. After creating the route, I have given the path. This is the mandatory path for the first route, but later on you can decide your path name. For example, for user login, you can give the path name as /user login. So this will be your route path. Okay. After route path comes the name of the function. So since my first route is rendering the template home.html. So I have kept my function name as home so that it shouldn't confuse me later at the time of debugging or showing to someone at the time of Viva. So I have given the function name as home, and this function will return home.html. So for returning HTML pages, we use the function render underscore template. In Viva, questions may be asked that what is the purpose of render underscore template, or it can be asked in a twisted way that which function of the Flask, which Flask function we use to show the HTML pages on front end. The answer will be render underscore template. So don't confuse with that. Don't get confused with that. Yeah. So I have created this route, first route. Now, at last, the thing comes. Yes, please ask.
Yeah, how did we decide the secret key? Means, how will I decide that?
You have to decide that because it is your application. And right now, you are not deploying that. It is going to be ran in your local machine. So you are the owner and you are the user. But from the what we say, malware and virus, you have to protect it. So you have to set a secret key.
Okay, it can be anything.
Yes, it can be
Okay,
anything. I have just given a random password.
okay,
Yes, exactly. Similarly, the file name, the database file name is upon your choice, but the extension will be .db. You can only change this name of the database. For example, project.db, aditi.db, sankalpa.db, anything, hms.db. Yes, Shivam, please ask.
Ma'am, without importing the SQL Alchemy, we can use the SQL Alchemy config, app config SQL Alchemy database if you are.
Please repeat again.
As we have not imported the SQL Alchemy uh, module, but you are using the app.config uh, SQL Alchemy database URI.
Yes, I understood that. I will show that one by one, everything I will show. I have set that configuration right now, but we are going to use SQL Alchemy for creating the database tables. Okay, step by step, everything I will be showing. Thank you, Shiva. Yes, Anurag.
And where this secret key is used and where we give the secret key so that our system get protected or anything.
See, this is only for making the backend understand that there is some secure connection. Okay, there is not unsecure connection or any fake connection made. So only in app.py their configuration secret key will be set. That's it. It won't be asked anywhere. Okay, this is for backend, not for us. This is for server to understand that there is a secure connection. The application, whole application is secure. Okay, fine. Okay. So after this thing, the route has been created, we have to tell at the last the app.py is having the last step or the full stop, you can say. After that, you cannot write any code. So that full stop is for running the application. After that command line, you don't write, you are not required to write any code after that full stop. Remember that because students write that. Okay, so I have written this full stop. See, this is the properties. It is not called as full stop, it is called as the last command line of app.py. So here it is checking that everything is true, and now I can run the application. You can see that inside run function we can write some properties. First properties is debug equals to true. Value is true and property name is debug. That means when we will be running the application and if some error comes in the terminal, that error will be shown. That will help us to debug that error. So this property help us to debug it. The next property is defining your own customized port. Okay, so this property I will show you later. First, let us run our application and see whether it is running or not. Okay, 1 minute. So after this line, you don't have to write anything. All the routes will be written before this only. Before 14th and 15th line, all routes will be written inside this. Okay, remember that thing. So let me run the application. 1 minute. Fifth pointer I have done. Initialization you understood. I have stored that initialization into app variable. First route has been created for rendering home page, home HTML. So now let me run the application. What is the command for running the application? It is python app.py. Hit enter. Okay. It is telling that Python is not found. I will write Python 3. Yes, you can see my application has ran now. What it is showing? Serving Flask app. The name of the file is app. Okay. Debug mode is on because I have made it as true. You all can see. Then it is telling that it is running on this particular link. The link is http 127.0.0.1 and after that colon is there and it is showing 5000. So in the Viva it will be asked that what is the port number in which your application is running right now. So by default Flask application's port number is 5000 every time, which can be changed by you. So the property name is port and you can change the port number to 5001. Okay, so my app got already stopped. You can see some error came here and in line number 15 and it got stopped. So let me run it again and show you what it shows now as the port number. You can see now the link has been changed. It is showing 5001. So you can see that by default Flask application port number is 5000 and we can change that as well. So maybe in the Viva it can be asked that how it can be changed and show me the change in your code. Okay. So let me follow this link and go. So you can see my first page has been opened and that was rendering home.html. So in home.html it was only having welcome to the hospital management system. Okay, so we have successfully ran this. Okay, let me stop the application. Control C. Okay, Control C is for stopping the application in the terminal. Now what is the next part? Next part is designing the tables. So this is the task which you have to do. Okay, I will show you some other table how to create that. In bootcamp, we mentors have not been told to show how to create the exact problem statement. We take some other dummy problem statement and we create that in front of you so that you are able to create those functionalities. Is it clear to everyone? Till this point, everything is clear to everyone. Perfect. So now This task is by done by you, not by me. I will be creating one table. Okay. So for that, as already written here, that tables will be created inside models.py file. So let me create one file, that is models.py, and we are going to create the tables of the database using SQL Alchemy, Flash SQL Alchemy. So first we have to import that. We have imported that. Now we will initialize SQL Alchemy inside one variable so that that variable can be used for creating tables and for creating the columns. Okay, so I have initialized that. I have saved that initialization of SQL Alchemy and stored inside DB variable. Okay, you can give the variable name of your choice. So now I am creating my first table, that is user table. So user table is known as the model. Here we don't tell table, here we tell as model. So db.model. And inside this table, we are having three columns: ID, username, password. Okay. But at the time of registration, you can see what are the things I am taking. I am taking username, email, and password. So I will go back to my models.py, and after username, I will give one more column, that is email, because if I write something, some extra columns in my HTML page, and that is not inside my tables, it will throw error. Okay, remember that whatever you have made inside your models.py, all columns or all columns should be written at the time of creation in the form tag. Inside the form tag, that fields should be present there. So now you can see I have created username, email, and password. What is ID? ID will be working as a primary key because there will be millions and very large amount of data for users. How it will be uniquely identified? So that is the work of primary key. Okay. So that is the role of primary key, which you have learned, studied in DBMS course as well. Now comes username. So in username, after telling that this is the column, we have to tell that which data type that column is having. Even in the primary key, I am telling that the data type of primary key is integer. Similarly, username will be string, email will be also string, password will be also string. Now you can see I have written 150, 150 everywhere. That is the limit. You cannot give the limit as well. For example, for now I am removing the limit. Okay, this says that if you give 150, the username cannot exceed the limit of 150. Username should be coming inside 150 only. Okay, so that is the purpose of giving the limits. So it is on your choice whether you want to give the limit or not. For example, in phone number, you should give the limit of 10 digits only. Okay, so that nobody can give any random number, phone number. Then I have given one property unique. Unique means the username once that has been created and saved inside the database. For example, Aditi Krishna 123 username is being created and saved inside database. Now nobody can create the same username Aditi Krishna 123. So that means the property unique equals to true is applied in that particular column. Now, one more new property is nullable. Nullable means empty, and that I have told as false. Means username column will not be empty. You have to type some username. Similarly, for email and password, you cannot leave it empty. You have to type some email and password. Okay, but you can give some more columns which doesn't require uh, means that data for that column is not mandatory as much as for data for username, email, or password is required. So this is upon your thinking. So you understood how a basic table using SQL Alchemy is created. Till this point, everyone is clear how a table is created. Means you guys have to create 5 tables: doctor, patient, appointment, treatment, department, inside models.py file. Okay. Now comes the database initialization, which will be done inside app.py. So we have created the table inside models.py. So how app.py is going to understand that there are some tables? Okay. So first of all, when some functions are created inside a Python file, but we wanted to use that inside some second Python file, that is app.py. So first of all, we will take that functions inside that Python file. So from models, I have imported DB and user. Okay, because I wanted to use that inside my app.py. So first of all, I did that. Then now I will be connecting my database with the application, the third property which I told of app. So these both are connected using the function known as init underscore app. So this will make a connection between DB and app. SQL Alchemy and Flask both are connected now. And after the connection, we are creating the database. By writing these two lines, we tell that from application, create all the tables inside database. Okay. Whatever database has been created using DB variable inside models.py will be now created with this command line. Okay. So let us run the application again. Now you will be seeing that if I run the application again, now this file should be created with this table inside it with 4 columns in it. Okay, so let me run the application for you. And yes, it has ran successfully, and you can see one instance folder has created with the database in it. The name of the database, as I gave, aditi.db, so it is aditi.db. I clicked on it, and now you can see it is having one table in it, that is the user table, and it has all that 4 columns: id, username, email, password. You can see the symbols also. This is the primary key, so it has the primary key in it. It is working as an integer, so integer symbol is in it. And similarly for username, it is having string, email is having string, and password is having string. This means not empty, not empty, not empty. Okay. This means unique. Okay. So now you understood that how a database is getting created. So after 8 point is done, you have to run the application and see whether the database is being created with all tables and each table is having that columns or not. Okay. Last thing is that how I was able to see the database. You can see a pink icon here. So you guys have to go to the extension button. This is the extension button, 4 squares, and search for SQLite Viewer. Sorry, I wrote the spelling wrong. SQLite Viewer. You have to install this extension so that you can see this file. What happens? Many students don't do this, and at the time of Viva, it is asked by the proctor and they are not able to show that. So for that also marks is being deducted. Okay. So now I have covered all the 10 pointers, which was my today's agenda. So till now, if anyone is having any problem, you can raise your hand so that I can help you out. And next thing, I will share the recording by today night only. Let me stop the recording